My name is Holdon. I work at a fill plant in Davenport, Iowa. I went to Apollo, which is the elementary school here. I played baseball growing up for Alito. Loved it. Just a normal kid. Nothing was out of the ordinary, and just everything up to the age of 8 until I was diagnosed. Grandma had these old school metal scooters which had the big rubber knobby tires. One of the handlebars was pushed in, so the metal was exposed, and I turned too sharp and the metal bar impaled my chest. I just couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. Took me to the hospital, and then that's when they did a whole bunch of tests on me, found out I had a murmur, arrhythmia, and then it all kind of started from there.
I felt bad because it happened here, this accident, but yet I was happy that it did, because otherwise there'd have been no way we knew what was going on.
The ER doctor wasn't from our hometown. The ER doctor was here in Alito doing an internship from Chicago. We just feel that he was our angel that day.
He was our guardian
that
angel.
Sent us to see the cardiologist. And when another physician may have just, well, he's just an 8-year-old, just a murmur. So that was our little miracle from right there, from day one. And that was on a Saturday, and they got us right in that Monday to the cardiologist. They did an echogram right then and there, and put him in a toy room so he could go play, and sat me down and said, it's called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and probably won't live to be 2025. And that was the long drive back home with me crying all the way home and him in the back seat going, "Mommy, why are you crying?"
It was hard to accept. Because children are not supposed to die.
They told me that no more baseball. At the time, it was baseball. I didn't know that in general they meant all sports.
He didn't understand why he couldn't play, and we had to explain to him that, his heart could just stop. Wanted to know why me? And we went through that stages from 8 to 10. Why me? Why do I have a bad heart? And we couldn't answer the whys.
And then I was 17. They realized that they just wanted to monitor it closer. They implanted a defibrillator. I have my big scar here, or my little scar, and I have a little bulge just for where it's at.
He missed his homecoming or prom at the end of the year, where he couldn't go to certain events with school because of that surgical procedure.
I never took my shirt off for that reason. I didn't want it being exposed. I didn't want people knowing, because I didn't want people judging me, thinking that I couldn't keep up with what they were doing. So even if I was out of breath, we'd be at the park with my buddies and we'd be playing football. I would, even though I knew my heart rate was getting up and I couldn't breathe as well as them, I pushed it aside and just kept going.
You could see that it was difficult for him, and it was difficult for us to watch him try to be a normal child when the potential wasn't there.
Don't push yourself to something that you physically know you can't do, because that could be it. Take it easy. Don't think that you're not going to be cool because you have a heart condition or you don't fit in. January 2nd, it was probably around 9 o'clock at night. I went to the gas station. I get some stuff, and I was at the line, the register, and my heart just randomly started acting crazy out of nowhere. And I took a few deep breaths in line, and it wasn't going away. I felt my heart rate speeding up at that point. I tell the lady at the register, "Listen, I'll be right back. I'm going to sit in my truck for a second." So I go to my truck. I'm just kind of sitting there, taking some deep breaths. I called an ambulance. I'm like, "This is where I'm at. I need somebody here." The ambulance shows up, and I'm freaking out at this point because it's been 15, 20 minutes. My heart rate's not slowing down. So they get me in the ambulance, and they inject me with this medicine that's supposed to slow my heart rate down. Didn't work. They did it multiple times. It didn't work. And that's when they got the paddles out, and they shocked me back to normal sinus rhythm. They gave me the famous stress test with all of these machines and masks and everything hooked up, and that's when they it really hit me. They're like, your heart's really only at 50%. I ran into this doctor, and awesome doctor, and he really just told me up front, like, listen, we're gonna refer you to the Mayo Clinic. We make my first appointment, and we just had our first initial consult. Everything went well. We're talking about different options, and then the septomyectomy was in effect.
The septomyectomy was to thin down the middle wall of the heart, which is what separates, the septum separates the right and left ventricles. And in Holdon's case, the ventricle on the left side, that septum wall was enlarging where it was obstructing, and that's why he was tired all the time and didn't feel well, is because the blood couldn't flow out nice and evenly like it does with somebody that doesn't have this disease. So they went in and went through the aorta to remove part of the septum muscle, and that way when they closed him up, that blood could just flow right out the way it should properly without taking the chance of it being blocked and causing him sudden cardiac arrest or sudden death even.
I told my family. I cherished every moment with my kids because I didn't know what was going to happen. Me and Brantley, my firstborn, started bonding a little bit more because I was just so concerned that I wasn't going to come out from this surgery.
I wanted to spend every moment with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the day comes, and nerves are just off the charts, crazy. And say my goodbyes. Everyone's like, stop saying goodbye. It's not goodbye. And to me, it was. And then I remember waking up, and I feel like Superman. I feel like I am invincible. It was very successful. Everything went by the books. It was perfect. And I'm sure it's going to catch up to me in the next couple of years, but in my mind, I have a brand new heart. I don't really worry about episodes anymore. I don't worry about weird beats. I feel amazing. I'm very grateful for the American Heart Association, for all the research that they've done. I'm just kind of living a life that I've never really had before. I thank them with everything I have.
So without the Heart Association research and donations, these doctors wouldn't be where they are today.
I feel like I'm a miracle. I feel like my whole family does too.